On behalf of Sardar Patel Institute of Economic and Social Research, Ahmedabad, I welcome you all in the Research Methodology course for PhD scholar in Social Sciences. SPIESR is a national level institution of higher learning and research. It started academic activities in 1969 with Professor D.T. Lakhdawala as its founder director. Apart from undertaking research studies, we also conduct training programs for social science researchers, organize conferences and seminars, memorial lectures, and guide PhDs. The institute is located on its own campus at Thaltej Hilltop of Ahmedabad on about 50 acres of green land. The lush greenery with dancing peacocks and singing birds provide good ambience for serious research work. But due to pandemic-related issues, we are conducting the course through online mode. Otherwise, you could have enjoyed this natural beauty. For giving an overview about the program, I will start with the changes that we experience in our life. Our life is never smooth. There are various ups and downs. We are always influenced by the change in social factors, political environment, policies, technological advancements, weather changes, natural calamities, etc. Recently, we have faced the hard effects of pandemics, and nowadays, since our economy is open and integrated with other economies of the world, we also face the impact of foreign factors. These factors affect people in different ways depending upon their abilities. To some extent, we find solutions, and to some extent, we adjust with the new situations by making some changes in our lifestyles. There are also people who suffer due to these shocks. As a social science researcher, we say that these types of changes transform the set of variables which define our socio-economic life. But if these changes are harmful for the society or constrain our growth, there is a need to find solution. Therefore, this course on research methodology aims to help the emerging scholars to understand the contemporary issues, identify the problem and related set of variables, find relationship between these variables and come up with solutions to the problems and help the policy makers and the society through dissemination of results via publishing. This is a 10 days program which will run from 20th July to 29th July 2022 through online mode. The course is sponsored by Indian Council of Social Science Research, New Delhi. The contents of the course are framed in such a manner so as to give systematic understanding about the research methodology, starting from the problem identification, review of literature, hypothesis formulation, data collection, analysis, and report, as well as paper writing, along with the use of web resources, ethics in research, and the knowledge about referencing, citation, and plagiarism. The course contents are both qualitative and quantitative in nature, and the approach will be both theoretical and practical. This course is mainly meant for SC/ST PhD scholars in social sciences, though we have few participants from SC, BC, and OBC category. Within this homogeneous group, there is a diversity as the participants are from different parts of India and from different disciplines of social sciences. The resource persons are also from different Indian universities having their own areas of expertise. In a way, this course will provide a platform for churning the diversities for creative outcomes. For the inaugural address, we are happy to have Professor Ashok Mittal, former Vice Chancellor of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar University, Agra. Prior to this assignment, he served as a professor at Department of Economics, Aligarh Muslim University. He has 46 years of teaching experience and 39 years of research experience. He has guided 20 PhD scholars, 2 postdoctorals, and examined more than 500 PhD theses of various state and central universities. He has in his credit a number of
I guess there is some internet issue, and we can start with Mittal sir. First of all, I'm really thankful to you for being here in such a short duration. We welcome you from SPIESR, and we are ready to hear you so that you can enlighten us with your knowledge, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Dabe. Really, I'm very grateful to the director of the institute and Professor Hansa Jain and Dr. Dabe for giving me an opportunity to interact with the research scholars of various disciplines from various parts of the country. Because as a student, I always interested to interact with other fellow colleagues, those who are doing research, because everyone has got its own problem. Now, if I say that why we are conducting this course, why ICSSR started conducting this course, actually it has been realized long back that the students coming or joining the research program, they are not being exposed at postgraduate level about the research, how to collect a sample, how to examine the data, how to present it. Therefore, it is felt that the research scholars, those who are recently joining the course, are not exposed to any research methodology. Whereas research is a systematic and critical analysis of a particular problem. Therefore, the ICSSR started conducting the course so that the fresh research scholar can get an exposure and can have an idea what they are supposed to do during their PhD program to obtain a PhD degree successfully. So I'm very grateful to ICSSR also that they have started this particular workshop, and these workshops I have seen are very, very useful to the research scholars. Now, what is a research? Of course, in books and in general saying it is a research, we are researching a particular thing which has been already searched. But to me, a research is a systematic and critical analysis of a particular problem. Mind it, underline, it is a systematic. So we have to follow a pattern which is being established so far for a research. Secondly, we are the student of social sciences, and research in social science is different than the pure science stream. As if I ask you, because this is the limitation when I say if I ask you, I know nobody will reply to my queries or my questions. What is social science?
They should be.
What is social science? What do we study in social science? Says, when we say that we are a student of faculty of social sciences, of course, belonging to a particular department, a group of some subjects have been put in under the umbrella of social sciences. Because in social science is nothing but a study of the behavior of the people in the form of a society. That when we have a society, how people are interacting with each other, what they are doing for their living, what they are doing, behaving with ourselves also. So to me, social science is nothing but the study of the behavior of the human being. Of course, the human being have different behavior for different activities. For example, well, they are going for consumption and production, we study their economic behavior. When you talk about the, say, marriages, the family system, the causes of divorce, these all are the part of the social sciences. When you study any political problem related to a particular party or coming, for example, we are not going to have the election for the president of India. What is its, how it is being conducted, who are the voters. So if you are studying all these things, then we call it a political science. So to me, if you take it any subject of the in that ultimately you are studying the human behavior apart from other things. And we all know the human behavior changes very rapidly. And sometimes we call human behavior is very erratic. With due respect to the better half and the female participants and the resource person, if it is a study related to the female behavior, then it is very, very difficult, because it is been said the female behavior is more erratic as compared to the behavior of the male. Anyway, so ultimately we are studying the human behavior, which changes with the time, which changes with the other conditions. So therefore, the study of social sciences is different than the study in pure science, because in pure sciences, we are conducting any research in a controlled environment. Within the four walls of the room, we are conducting the research, maintaining a particular temperature, pressure, etc., etc. But in social sciences, our research is open to the society. We are studying a particular society, how different units of the society are behaving in a particular situation, or a group of people is behaving in a particular situation. Of course, let me admit beforehand that when I was just listening the introduction, I find a lot of very severe heterogeneity in the group of the participants, because there are many different disciplines, though of course I belongs to the economics discipline. So therefore I will try to give example from other disciplines also apart from economics. Now, I will give you today what's I view of the whole process of research for obtaining a PhD degree. And of course, I will share my own experiences of last 46 years. And of course, I have examined, as Dr. Hansa Jain informed you, more than 500 PhD theses. So I have a lot of experiences which I would like to share. Some of them are very good, and mostly are on the negative side. So why I'm saying, so that you should not commit those mistakes. Now, once you decide to join the PhD program, you have appeared in the written test, then group discussion or presentation sort of thing. Finally, you are being said that you are being selected for this program. And only few days are given to you to decide about the topic and decide about the supervisor. Then generally I feel a student comes to me, sir, I want to join research with you. In which then I will naturally ask, in which area you want to do research? Sir, any area will do. Whatever you suggest, I will do it. So in general, I have seen students are not exposed how to select an area, and they feel like कि मेरी जेब में कोई पुड़िया रखी है, मैं टॉपिक निकाल के उसको दे दूंगा कि लो भाई ये टॉपिक तुम ले लो. So sometimes I feel it is the responsibility of the supervisor to fix some few topics. If any research scholar joins with him, then he will give that particular topic. So my simple, and most of you are research scholar, so that stage is over. In 90% cases, I am sure the topic must have been decided by now. But even then, I will say, because you can still make your minor changes in the topic at any time during your research. That topic is the most important thing. If you select a right topic, then your 50% problems are over. Selection of a topic, because sometimes you become very enthusiastic and you try to take a topic which is very wide in itself. Nowadays, don't go for horizontal sort of a thing. Don't take a white topic. For example, recently, a couple of days back, I received synopsis from an university saying that these are the students and they have submitted their research proposal. So being an expert, they have asked my opinion. That a student has taken some topic on e-commerce. And when he identified his sample area was the whole NCR, Agra, as well as Firozabad. Do you think an individual researcher, and he may not be getting any financial assistance from any through scholarship or anything, how he will cover such a large area? Likewise, there was a topic in which they discussed a theoretical issue. Naturally, being an individual researcher, being a fresher in this branch of your study, how one can make a theoretical, some development in particular theory or something. So be very practical. Don't try to become a Nobel laureate. मैं हर research scholar से ये कहता हूँ, try to be a research scholar. Your main objective is obtain a PhD degree with a fairly good work, so that if you go to any selection committee for assistant professorship or for other organization, they always ask you your PhD thesis. And once you turn the pages of the PhD thesis, you can see or examine and make an opinion whether what is the quality of the thesis. क्योंकि अगर थीसिस इस वक्त आपने किसी तरह से काम को निपटा दिया बिना कुछ किए, तो वो जिंदगी भर आपके कंधे का बोझ बन जाएगी. And that's why we are seeing now many PhD scholars, the persons, those who have obtained the PhD degree, still could not get a job. There are large number of vacancies in various universities, so they can't say there is no availability of job. But since they have not done good work or an average work, therefore nobody is interested to getting them in their institution. Though I may be harsh in saying this, please excuse me, but this is the reality which I'm discussing with you, that be very cautious about your PhD thesis. Getting a degree is not a difficult task, but doing a fairly good research work needs a systematic approach. It's not difficult. It's easy, but only thing that you adopt a systematic approach. So while selecting a topic, don't be very enthusiastic. And simultaneously, when you are selecting a topic, also see whether the relevant data will be available to you. Because naturally in every social science thesis, even if we are going for primary data, we are collecting our own informations related to our problem, then we need to support them some secondary data. So please be very careful in selecting the topic, and also simultaneously try to find out the expected data is easily available to you or not. For example, I discussed with one of the research scholar, he's working on oil prices. So naturally we want the data of the inflation, GDP, oil prices, etc., etc. He told me that there are 3-4 sources. From one source, he is getting data from 2004. From other sources, he is getting data from 1998, and so. So there are different sources. From different sources, he is getting a different time series. It is up to you now to decide which is the more, you can say, systematic, and more, you can say, is harmonic in nature, which will serve your purpose or objective of your study. So first thing in any research is to select a topic. And as I'm saying, topic must be self-explanatory. There are various topics which I have seen. you can't trace to anything but what this boy or girl wants to do. The topic, the what should not be repeated. The year from which you are doing your study should be specifically mentioned. So these are some of the things we have to keep in mind before selecting a topic, that we are selecting a topic on which data may be available, which is quite comfortable. It is a topic you can manage even if you have to see the primary data. Recently, a university has announced that they will give to each faculty member 2 lakhs, and they have asked the proposal. Then they have sent those proposals for my opinion. One topic was the study of the employability of graduate from higher education. One thing you can say, how you can examine the employability of graduates. वो भी graduates from higher education. That too, you have graduates from your primary education also. So, and that too, initially he mentioned from a particular district, but within the work, he has said that I will take a sample from this area, from Jhansi, from Fala. It was such a large sample, and a study is to be completed within 6 months. Giving the time frame, work time limit, how an individual teacher can go to, even cannot go to the places to interview the people and find out whether there is, what type of employment they are getting. So my humble summation, your topic must be not be ambiguous. You should take a realistic view whether you will be able to manage that sample, you will be able to manage, or the collection of data and information. After that, naturally, the most important part of is the research methodology or review of literature. I have seen many theses in which there was no review of literature, as if the candidate is doing himself for the first time research in that particular area. Actually, the main importance of the review of literature is to identify the gray areas in that problem, because nowadays you can't say that this is a problem on which nothing is being done or nothing is being said. You take any remote to remote topic, you will find something on it. People are so concerned about the problems and they are working very thoroughly, very widely. So you take any topic and you will find some literature. If you repeat the same methodology, same method which the earlier researcher has done, then what is your research? What is your contribution? So by going through the literature on a particular area or topic related to you, you can understand what others have done so far. And what are the still, there are any area in which you can pursue, or where the last researcher has stopped, he couldn't go further, maybe various reasons. Can you forward his research? Can you add something to in it? So therefore, review of literature is a core of the thesis, because whenever I examine the thesis, first off, I go to the back page and annexure, I go through the bibliography. From bibliography, one examiner or any other can understand what sort of literature this person has consulted. And I have seen many times, just because we have now Google and various search engine, you just give your topic and it will give you a list of the publications. without going through those publications they have mentioned in bibliography. So one can say, oh, he has consulted so good journals, so good books, therefore his work must be very, very high quality. But then I go to the review of literature, because review of literature, if you have written, at least you have seen that paper. At least you have studied not the full paper, but abstract of the paper. So you have some idea. But writing a review of literature is an art. And there are standard methods to writing a review of literature. Recently, I have conducted a Ph.D. viva. That person has worked on BRIC and India's trade relations. Though he has studied, say, 30, 40 articles and books, but he has not given them in either chronological order so that you can make a historical development in that particular literature, not in a dictionary manner in the first author alphabet sort of a thing. Neither. Third thing is that you write the review of literature instead of the chronological order or dictionary order. The events which have taken place in your area. First, something has said about it, then some more development was said even earlier to it. So there should be a pattern in writing the research methodology. So I request, क्योंकि अब तो teacher request ही करता है, कह तो सकता ही नहीं कुछ. So I request all the participants to have a rich review of literature and arrange them or write them in the standard format. And you can know the standard format on going through the internet, and it will give you how to write a review of literature. After you have reviewed the literature, you have identified the gray area. And secondly, review of literature also tells you what model, if you are studying an empirical study you are conducting, what model has been applied by the earlier researcher. Maybe after that, that model have been improved, so you can employ a improved version. So there are various advantages of doing it by thoroughly going through the review of literature. I personally feel you become very wise and knowledgeable about your problem. Then you can discuss your problem freely with anyone. Sir, I'm doing this, Fala gentleman has done this, the other one has done this, other one. So I feel this is a gray area. So an expert can correct you and can give you a sincere advice. Once you have done the review of literature and you have identified the problem, the next thing is to see how to approach that problem. Whether that problem is qualitative in nature or quantitative. Because in social sciences, now we encounter with qualitative problems also. But if suppose you feel that it is a quantitative problem, then what statistical tools you can apply in it? So we say that you construct a model. You say your main problem. For example, one of the participants was saying that she wants to study the women empowerment through Manrega in a particular district of Orissa. So you want to see the women empowerment through Manrega. Now the question arises, what are the parameters through which you can assess the women empowerment? Firstly, you have to assign here, because you are seeing it through Manrega, I can understand it is an economic empowerment. Because we know generally women empowerment is classified in 3 categories, that is the political empowerment, social empowerment, and economic empowerment. But as your title says that through Manrega, it means you want to see it particularly the economic empowerment. then what variables you will examine to see how much empowerment has taken place in that particular district. Then you have to also identify what are the, you feel maybe the factors which affects the women empowerment. For example, how many days of work the women are getting in Manrega? What is the per day wages they are getting the Manrega? Whether they are, what is the view of the family if the family women is going out to work for Manrega? So in general, what we say in statistics, we have to identify the dependent and independent variable. That this is, say, women empowerment is your dependent variable, and what are the factors on which this women empowerment depends. Once you identify your variables, then you have to see whether the data or which type of data will be available to you. There are generally, we classify the data in very, but to cut short, क्योंकि हंसा जी थोड़ा बेचैन हो रही हैं कि मित्तल साहब जैसा बोल रहे हैं तो ये तो बहुत टाइम ले लेंगे और इन्हें 11 बजे प्रोग्राम ये खत्म भी करना है. तो डोंट माइंड, मैं अभी घड़ी सामने रखा हूँ, इट्स 10:40, I will go another 20 minutes, not more. Then start collecting data. If it is a numerical data, sometimes you may not capture a particular variable directly. Then you have to identify which is the other variable for which the data is available, can be used as a proxy for your variable. Because women empowerment in itself is a variable which cannot be directly measured. You can have different proxy variables for to examine the women empowerment. For example, one of my research scholars, she has worked on women empowerment, not through Manrega, but we have taken a sample, so we have interviewed many female. तो उसमें एक हम लोगों ने जो वो particular लिया था कि whether the female of the family is being consulted in important financial decisions. क्योंकि अभी भी हिंदुस्तान में जैसा देखा जा रहा है कि वीमेन को जो भी फाइनेंशियल डिसीजंस हैं वो मेल पर्सन्स रहते हैं, लेकिन अब जो फैमिलीज आ रही हैं जहां वाइफ भी पढ़ी लिखी है या न्यूक्लियर फैमिली में, वहां बल्कि उल्टा हो रहा है. अब मेन डिसीजंस फीमेल ले रही है, मेल तो साली ओबे कर रहे हैं कि हाँ भैया तुमने ले लिया, ठीक है, जिसमें तुम खुश रहो मैं भी खुश हूं. फला जगह प्लॉट खरीदना है या फ्लैट खरीदना है, भैया तुम्हें रहना है, तुम देख लो, मुझे तो पैसे देने मैं दे दूंगा. So there are various, so you should also study what are proxy variables और उनको हम कैसे चूज करें जो हमारा एक्चुअल वेरिएबल है जिसकी हम स्टडी करना चाह रहे हैं, उसका वो क्लोज सब्स्टिट्यूट बन जाए. Once you identify the variables, then try to collect the data, and there are various ways which of course the different resource persons will discuss with you in due course. If you are directly collecting, then how to draw a sample. So sampling will be discussed in your 10 days course. What are the different methods of sampling? One thing more, I have seen examine, no student has written so far in any thesis that I have not done random sampling. Most of us always write, we have in research methodology that we have taken or adopted the random sampling. And at least in 90% cases, I observed it was not random sampling. Either it was purposive sampling, selective sampling, or I should say convenience sampling, where whenever there is a primary data, तो convenience sample है, आप गांव में गए, जिसने भी आसानी से आपका क्वेश्चन आयर भरवा दिया या भर दिया वो ठीक है, नहीं तो अगले पे चले गए. Where is the randomness? So my summation here, that whatever you do in your research, we don't challenge it, but report it honestly. If you are done the convenience sample, we know practically it's very difficult. You have taking a random sample, you identified a particular household. और मालूम पड़ा वहां घर गए थे तो ताला लगा हुआ था. There are various issues, and particularly when you are working in rural areas and all that. For example, for management students, I have seen, they generally work on consumer perception. और उसमें क्या है कि वो मॉल में गए, वहां 100-200 लोगों से उन्होंने पूछा और क्वेश्चन आयर भर लिया. Is it a study? So therefore, be cautious about what sort of a research design you are adopting. So once I say you have successfully collected your data, then you have to see if it is a primary data which is being collected by you or by your research scholars or by some other investigator. Then now we have filters in computer programs. So just apply the filter and examine the reliability of data. That's very important, because we have seen if some other than you has gone in the field, then he takes it leisurely, and sometimes he fill himself without asking interview any other person or the sample unit. So filtering of the sample. Then comes what tool you should apply to analyze that data. The first thing, what we generally are doing or seeing from the research scholar, you try to draw the graphs, the bar diagrams or chart. It's a good way of presenting your data, because if your data is giving in a tabular form, you cannot interpret anything unless or until you closely examine it and give some time. Visual things are more attractive and you can make easily some inference out of it. But mind it, what I have seen in PhD thesis generally, a student has given a table followed by its diagram, then another table so it is, I feel, a repetition of the same fact. I generally suggest the research scholar that if you have given a chart or some diagram, then don't give the data in the text. Give that data in the appendix. And sources में आप लिख सकते हैं उस diagram के नीचे कि sources फला फला, appendix table फला फला. Because there should not be a repetition. Once you have given it diagrammatically, there is no need to give a tabular data in that place. Of course, if examiner wants to see on which data you have constructed the diagram, so you fairly can give it in your appendix. Now, wherever we are doing a quantitative study, then suppose you want to see the relationship between the dependent and independent variable. Naturally, even the social science student of any discipline, even other than economics, know there is a term correlation. You can apply that very elementary too and can find out the relationship between the variables where they are related to each other. Because if they are not related with each other, there is no point taking that variable in your study. Once you want to know the causality, which variable affects which variable, then we go for regression analysis. Of course, that will be discussed in due course of these 10 days workshop. I'm not going into detail. So go through and examine it. Now, what is happening in social sciences, I have seen. Even non-economics student sociology and other discipline, they are interested to have some empirical study. Even they go to some computer personnel in a computer center of your university You ask them कि दादा हमको कुछ empirical करना है, supervisor का बहुत pressure है, तो हमको कुछ analysis करके दो, इसमें data कोई tool लगाओ. He gives you the results. Since he doesn't know your discipline, he can't interpret. Since you don't know the technique, you can't interpret your own results. Many times when we run a multiple regression, we get a coefficient of determination denoted by R square, which tells fairly the goodness of it. Whenever I go for PhD interview, if I ask the candidate, what is this R square? What does it mean? They are simply blank. So once you get the results, try to study your own subject, because there will be given some interpretation how you can interpret your coefficients of the variables, other statistics which they are giving, R square, F value, P value. So, or even if don't, I'm telling you, you will be getting different resource persons during this 10 days course. Please, whenever they are discussing any correlation, regressions, or blah, blah sort of a thing, ask them what is the way to interpret. If R square this, what does it mean? How we will interpret it? If you are getting the values of the coefficients, how you can interpret them. So interpretation is very important, because anybody can, if you have some data, you can go for any software and can just give the commands and can get the results. But how to interpret those results, that's very important. So another thing which I will suggest you, try to go for empirical analysis, because simply saying a thing, for example, in our economics, we say there is a law of demand, that price is inversely related with the quantity demanded of a commodity, assuming other things to be constant. हम सब लोग भी जानते हैं डे टू डे रूटीन में कि सब जब किसी चीज की कीमत बढ़ने लगती है, prices going up, then the demand falls. But there are various examples where we observe that it is not falling. Then we are in search, what are the reasons? Why? For example, I give you an example of gold. Prices of gold is increasing. Simultaneously, demand is also increasing. In international market, price of the crude oil is increasing, but demand is not decreasing. So we have to do some empirical exercise, find out the answers of these questions. And once you are through it, then carefully write your observation, what you call it, the conclusion. And with conclusions, you also write some of the assumptions. I just share your experience that I have gone through so much PhD thesis. Suggestions are such which are not being examined in the context. Aksar kar, if there is, for example, in Manrega, the candidate will give number of suggestions कि government को ये करना चाहिए, government को ये करना चाहिए. जब उससे पूछा कि भाई ये करना चाहिए, तुमने text में इस चीज को examine किया, so there was no reference in the text. Don't go for number of suggestions. Suggestions may be 2 or 3, but give the suggestions only to related those issues which you have examined in your text. What I call it, don't jump on the conclusions. And then finally, you accept what are the limitations of your thesis. Don't hesitate to write your limitations. क्योंकि अगर आप शुरू से ही कह देंगे एग्जामिनर से कि साहब हमारे ये लिमिटेशन है, हमारी ये मजबूरी थी, हम तो बहुत गरीब आदमी हैं, तो he understands some of them may be valid limitation. कोई भी रिसर्चर उस एरिया में काम करेगा तो उसको वो लिमिटेशंस फेस करने पड़ेंगे. Some of them may be due to your shortage of time, shortage of funding or something. You couldn't go to that extent for one it was expected. So examiner will give you pardon, बोले हाँ यार ठीक है सबका होता है, but you are honest enough to write the limitations which you have taken. So keeping in these, I feel that if you keep these broader things in mind, you should be able to go a fairly good research work. And there should not be any problem in getting the award of the PhD degree and simultaneously a respectful job for you. With these words, I wish you all a good luck. I wish that you all complete your research work for PhD degree within time. I am quoting this within time. That's very important. And your work is being appreciated by others. With these words, once again, I thank Professor Hansa Jain and Dr. Dave, and of course the director. Perhaps she is Dr. Mehta or Professor Mehta. Pardon?
Yes.
Professor Neeti Mehta.
Mehta, I know. I have a chance to meet him. Anyway, I'm very thankful to you all for giving me this opportunity and giving me this honor. I hope that we will meet sometimes here and there or over cuckoo's nest. Anyway, thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you very much
I'm
for
really
delivering an enriching.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You very well discussed the concept of social science and highlighted the importance of social science research methods and given a glimpse of the stages in research that ultimately leads to problem solving. Your discussion using live examples from everyday life directly fits into the mind and motivates one to think in innovative ways. Hope that this will encourage the participants to carry their research efficiently and continue with their research journey in future also. Thank you very much, sir. Though we are conducting this course through online mode, but we will try our best to make the sessions participatory and interactive. We expect from the participants that they will sincerely attend all the sessions.
I hope so. I hope so.
Participate in discussions and find solutions to the problems that they are facing in their research work. This will strengthen your abilities in research. Since teaching and research are the complementary sides of the same coin, this will provide you excellence in teaching also. Hope that this platform will provide, this will be a platform for learning, interacting and sharing knowledge and will be fruitful for you as well as for the society. For any type of problem, the participants are free to contact. Sir, I just want to let you know that Professor Neeti Mehta was not able to join because she has undergone some surgery due to sinus.
Hey, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
She's a good friend of mine.
She's not well. Yeah.
Yeah, she's from the Central University, na?
No,
Amarkantak.
Professor Neeti Mehta.
अच्छा नीति मेहता नहीं मैं नीति जैन.
नीति जैन है. वो नीति जैन अमरकंटक में, ये हमारे यहाँ पर नीति मेहता है और यहीं से.
Anytime we will meet, no problem. Convey my regards to her and ask for his welfare.
देखते हैं कभी हम लोग ऑफलाइन फिजिकल मोड में कर पाए तो डेफिनेटली.
नहीं अब करेंगे, अब सब जगह शुरू हो रहा है, उसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम
है एक्चुअली. हाँ. So thank you very much, sir. And now I invite Professor Forum Dave for a vote of thanks.
Majority of the
Vikram.
No, sir, it was really nice to have you, and especially all your suggestions, all your outline. I mean, your talk, Professor Mittal talked from the for not only for economics student, but sociology also, history also, library science also. So that is one of the greater aspect that when we hear the person like Professor Ashok Mittal, we can take a lot of suggestion. One of the most important aspect he covered is we are all the student of sociology and social science, which actually cover the society and its behavior. So he also talked about that how to cover all the aspect of it, which is always a changing aspect. Okay. He also covered whether the problem is employment or employability. Of course, he also provided you a suggestion to ask to ask all the person who is going to give you a lecture about the interpretation. If somebody is teaching you regression, if somebody is teaching you correlation, how to interpret that. So that is a suggestion for all the participants to ask, to participate, not only to be there on a mute mode, but to participate and ask them. So we are actually thankful to Professor Ashok Mittal from SPIESR to enlighten us with his knowledge and his experience also. Experience make a lot of difference that I can feel today. And thank you, sir, and hopefully hope to have you here as an offline mode. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you for being with us.
So next session will be at 11:30. We have the 30-minute break, and hope all participants are there present after 30 minutes. Thank you.
So participants get relaxed and join at 11:30, 5 minutes early.
Okay.